You don't notice it at first. It doesn't feel like exploitation. It feels like being needed. You are the one who listens longer than you should. You give second chances that were never earned. You smooth tension before anyone else even feels it. You sense discomfort in a room the way others sense temperature, and people call you kind. But kindness for you has never felt light. It feels heavy, obligatory, tight in the chest. Here's the paradox no one warned you about. The very trait that once kept you safe is now the thing that drains you. Your kindness didn't begin as generosity. It began as adaptation. At some point early in life, you learned this unspoken rule. If I am easy to deal with, I will not be abandoned. So, you became agreeable. You became helpful. You became emotionally available far beyond what was reciprocated. And now, years later, you wonder why people cross your boundaries so easily. Why your needs feel invisible. Why you are exhausted in relationships that call themselves mutual. This isn't because you're weak. It's because your nervous system still believes kindness is the price of belonging. To understand why kind people are used, we have to stop romanticizing kindness and start analyzing its origin. For many, excessive kindness is rooted in parentification, a childhood dynamic where a child learns to regulate the emotions of adults. You weren't explicitly told to do this, you felt it. The emotional atmosphere trained you. You learned to read micro-shifts in tone. You learned when to speak and when silence was safer. You learned that your value came from reducing emotional friction. This creates hypervigilance, a nervous system locked in constant scanning mode. Your brain prioritizes others' emotional states over your own internal signals. Over time, this rewires attention, empathy, and threat detection. Neurologically, the default mode network, the system responsible for self-referential thought, becomes hijacked. Instead of asking, "What do I feel?" it asks, "What do they need from me right now?" Add to this anxious or avoidant attachment, and you get a person who equates connection with self-sacrifice. Kindness becomes transactional, not consciously, but somatically. Your body learned if I am useful, I am safe. This is not morality. This is conditioning. Real cost is not that people take from you. The real cost is that you disappear from your own life. You sacrifice authenticity for harmony. You mute your anger because it feels dangerous. You minimize your needs because they feel inconvenient. And over time, something profound happens. You stop trusting your own desires. There is an invisible grief here. The grief of the unlived self. The version of you that never asked for more. Never demanded fairness. Never allowed conflict to clarify truth. Carl Jung warned that what we repress does not vanish. It turns into fate. Unexpressed resentment becomes exhaustion. Unspoken anger becomes depression. Unclaimed boundaries become chronic guilt. The fear underneath all of this is simple and devastating. I stop being kind. I will be alone. So even joy becomes complicated. Rest feels undeserved. Receiving feels uncomfortable. You are not afraid of giving. You are afraid of what happens if you stop. This pattern doesn't stay abstract. It becomes behavioral, predictable, costly. You might stay in relationships where effort is one-sided, calling it loyalty. Overperform at work while being underacknowledged and underpaid. Feel responsible for other people's moods and ashamed when you can't fix them. Say yes automatically, then resent yourself privately. Attract partners who confuse access with entitlement. Feel guilty setting boundaries even when they are reasonable. These are not personality traits. They are coping strategies. And the most dangerous part? You gaslight yourself. You tell yourself you're just nice, that it's not a big deal, that you're overreacting. Healing begins with witnessing, not fixing. Witness the pattern. Witness the bodily response when you want to say no. Witness the fear that rises when you imagine being less accommodating. This is not about becoming cold. It's about becoming real. Healing for kind people is not about learning how to give. It's about learning how to receive without guilt and withhold without fear. This is where inner child reparenting begins teaching the nervous system that safety no longer depends on self-erasure. It is where shadow work enters not to shame the anger, but to integrate it. Anger is not cruelty. It is information. You practice choosing softness with yourself. You let disappointment exist without rushing to repair it. You allow others to feel discomfort without rescuing them from it. And slowly, something shifts. Kindness stops being a shield. It becomes a choice. As Jung implied, wholeness is not goodness. It is integration. You were never meant to be endlessly accommodating. You were meant to be whole. Your kindness is powerful, but only when it includes you. If this resonated, share it with someone who has forgotten their own weight. Subscribe, not to be fixed, but to remember who you were before survival rewrote you.